Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We are from the City of Dayton Department of Water, and we're going to be talking about protecting your aquifer. I am Paul Fleischman. I am an environmental compliance coordinator, and I work within the City of Dayton Division of Environmental Management. I focus mostly on source water protection, which is what we're going to learn a little bit more about today.
And I'm Eric Boris. I'm an environmental scientist and a data specialist. And we're going to start by telling you about what we do in the Division of Environmental Management. Our division does many things. The first one on this list is source water protection. So that's protecting our drinking water and aquifer, which is what most of this presentation will be about. But we also do things like surface water protection, which is making sure that our rivers and lakes are clean and safe, and emergency response, which anytime there's a fire or a car accident or something that could cause chemicals to spill and harm our aquifer or surface water, we go to make sure that it's cleaned up safely. So the ambulance will go to make sure all the people are safe. The fire truck will go to put out any fires, and we'll go to make sure that the environment is looked after and cleaned up after the accident. We also do outreach and education. So that's events like this, where we try to engage with the community and students and teach people about this really cool resource that we have beneath our feet. As I mentioned, source water protection is protecting our aquifer because that's a source of all our drinking water. An aquifer is just a big body of water that's buried beneath our feet. So underground, there's sand and gravel, and mixed in with all that is water. You can visualize this by making your own aquifer models out of sand, soil, and gravel in a cut-off 2-liter bottle, if you have that. Or you could use the awesome Aquifer advanced hydrogeology kits, which are very fun. The way we use this aquifer is basically by digging down to that water level where that water starts. And if you were to do that, like in this picture, and dig a hole down there, water would start to fill in the hole wherever the water table starts. And that's how wells work. If you see wells like this, what that is a big hole in the ground that just goes down to the water table. And that allows you to pull water out of the aquifer. And the wells we have now are a little more modern than that. They look like this. It's a high-powered pump and a big pipe that ships the water back to our treatment plant. Next, we have a few videos to show you how the wells work in an aquifer and why it's important to protect them from pollution.
This is our aquifer model. You can see at the top there where we have some green grass that represents the surface. The clay, sand, and gravel help us visualize what's going on beneath the surface in our aquifer. The lower section in the middle and on the left side represent our rivers, and those vertical columns that look sort of like straws are the wells. In our first example, we'll be pumping water up from well number 5, kind of in the middle left there, as we use red dye to simulate contamination or pollution from an underground storage tank on the other side of the river. We can see that first, gravity is pulling the pollution downwards from that underground storage tank that's leaking. But because that well number 5 is pumping up water, it pulls the pollution over towards it, and eventually now it's pulling up that red contaminated water. This shows us how it's important that we watch out for pollution that's occurring even if it's not very close to our well fields, because those wells can pull pollution from farther away. In our next example, we're still pumping water up from well number 5, but we're looking at how pollution from the river can enter the aquifer and reach the wells. In our last example, we're looking at pollution from an underground storage tank again, but this time we're pulling water from a well that's a lot deeper, well number 6. We can see that well number 6 goes below this clay layer in gray, which will prevent water from going directly towards it, but it can still pull the water around the outside and then across the bottom into the well and become contaminated.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks for showing us how pollution can move through the aquifer. And because of that, I wanted to show you kind of our well field map and talk a little bit more about source water protection. So if you look at this map, down here on the left-hand side, you can see here's downtown Dayton. And you'll see in the blue areas are our well fields. These well fields are where we have those production wells, those pumps that Eric was talking about. And that's where we pull the water from the aquifer, pump it out, and send it to be treated. You may have actually seen these or been in our well fields before, because this well field right here is called Mad River Well Field, and Eastwood Metro Park is a part of that. And so if you've ever seen the green pipes coming up out of the ground, that's a production well. And because these well fields in the aquifer is surrounded by, where people live, houses, businesses, etc., we have to make sure that we keep our water clean and that pollution doesn't get to it. And because of the fact that there are businesses and everything else around, we started the Source Water Protection Program. One of the reasons why the Source Water Protection Program was started kind of gave us a little bump to make sure that we are doing everything we can to protect our groundwater was an issue with Sherwin-Williams. Now, the Sherwin-Williams plant was right next to the well field. In fact, there was a production well right next door to the plant. And unfortunately, the Sherwin-Williams plant caught fire and burned down. So because it was so close to our well field and right over top of the aquifer, the firefighters, the Dayton Fire Department, the City of Dayton Water Department decided that we should let that building burn. And the reason why is because if they would have put water on that fire, it would have taken that water, and any of the pollutants would have gone down, seeped into the aquifer, and then it would have contaminated our water supply. But because they didn't use that water, they just let everything burn, and that burned away and up instead of going down into the aquifer. That was very important. So as you can see on this map, there's Dayton here, but there's also Riverside and a few other, towns. Our source water protection area isn't just, Dayton. And because of that, we need to work with partners. You'll see partners from Riverside, Harrison Township, etc. And to help us do that, Sarah Holid with Public Health, Dayton, Montgomery County, is going to talk a little bit more about her role as a partner with the Source Water Protection Program.
Thanks, Paul. Hi, everyone. I hope you all are having a great time and are learning a lot. My name is Sarah, and I am a geologist. That's someone who studies the earth. I work for Public Health, and we are here to make sure the community, that means you, stay safe and healthy. That includes what we drink, right? So my position here at Public Health is Well Field Protection Specialist. That means I provide guidance to the 4 jurisdictions or areas that Paul just talked about outside the city of Dayton for anything they might need relating to our well fields. Maybe someone wants to know what chemicals are not allowed in the area, or where the nearest drinking water well is, or even if someone had an accident and the chemical was spilled on the ground outside. The 4 jurisdictions or areas that make up the multi-jurisdictional Source Water Protection Program are Huber Heights, Vandalia, Riverside, and Harrison Township. No matter where you live, each one touches a portion of the well fields. Also, I work with people who have businesses, factories, within this area to make sure they know how important it is to be a great environmental steward. We are all partners because, like Paul said, water has no boundaries, but cities and towns and villages do, right? So, as you all just learned, the Source Water Protection Program is a large network of people that work together towards a common goal. And what do you think that common goal is? If you said to make sure the groundwater stays safe and clean to drink, you're right. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, now that you've learned a little bit more about the source water protection area and our aquifer, I want to say we need your help to protect our water. If you see something, say something, ask an adult to call us. We need your eyes and your help to keep our water resources clean, our river and our aquifer, and ultimately our drinking water. If you see something like the paint cans there that were illegally dumped on the side of the road, call us. If you see something on the river that doesn't look right, like oil or something like that, please call us, call the water department, and we will go out and investigate it. So, in conclusion, please remember, groundwater is important. Even though you can't see it, it is incredibly important. It's what supplies our drinking water for Dayton and the surrounding areas, and we can all help to protect our drinking water. Thanks a lot for spending time with us today. Have a great day.